A few years ago, I was given more cherries than I knew what to do with. So I started coming up with all these different recipes, and those included cherry barbecue sauce, which I absolutely love. It's so good on anything that's on the grill. For starters, I'll need 6 cups of cherries, and I'll need to destem these, wash off any residue of pesticides, and pit them. And even though I love this pitting device, I always try and remember that it misses pits sometimes too, so I try to keep an eye out for those. My next step is to get these pureed down. I start by putting them in my blender. You want to make sure that you don't have any pits in it before doing this step. If you do have pits in there, you'll hear it pretty quickly because you'll start to hear it go around on the bottom. For that reason, I always start it on low because I could fish it out if I absolutely had to. Not the best thing though. Now that I'm sure that there's no pits in my cherries, I'll turn it up to high because I want this to get really smooth. Now I'll place 1 cup of finely chopped onions into a pan. Mine are actually kind of soft already because I ended up using frozen onions today. And then 1 tablespoon of olive oil. And then I'll saute these on the stove. After your onions have softened up a bit, then add 1/2 cup of garlic and continue to saute it for a few more minutes. Then I place the garlic and onion that have been sauteed into my large pot. I forgot to mention that the garlic needs to be minced nice and small. I get lazy and I just buy it minced that way. And then I'll add my pureed cherries to it. So now is when we add the rest of the ingredients, starting with 1 cup of brown sugar, 2/3 a cup of red wine vinegar, 1/4 cup of honey, 3 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, 3 tablespoons of molasses, 2 tablespoons of pineapple juice, 2 teaspoons of salt, 1 teaspoon of pepper, and 1 teaspoon of dry mustard. Then I'll mix those together and put them on the stove. I want to bring them to a boil. After they get to a boil, I'll simmer it for 45 minutes. That will get it nice and thick in here. Now that my sauce is thick, I'll place it into my 1/2 pint jars up to 1/2 of an inch of headspace, which is the space from the top of the food to the top of the jar. Now I'll use a clean, damp cloth to wipe off the rim of my jars. This just makes it so that if any of the barbecue sauce got on the edge, it won't interfere with the seal. I'll then place on my lids and rings until they're fingertip tight. I'm using Superb lids today, and these are actually my new favorites. They're American made, and they have a super thick seal around the outside edge, as well as a coating that's supposed to make them more rust resistant, which is really important for me because I keep mine in the root cellar where it's a little bit more humid. Now I'll process these in the boiling water bath for 15 minutes if I'm at sea level. I'm at 1,200 feet, so I'll go for 20, but I won't start my timer until after it starts to boil. Now that the processing time is complete, I'll turn off the heat, remove the lid, and let it cool for 5 minutes. Then I'll remove the jars from the canner and place them on a heat-resistant surface about 1 to 2 inches apart. This just lets them cool down a little bit faster. I'll leave them there for 24 hours so that they can get a good seal. I can tell that they have a good seal if the center of the lid has depressed down. If it has, then I remove the ring and wash the outside with hot soapy water and then store it in a cool, dry, dark location and use it in the next 1 to 3 years. If it didn't seal, then I'll place it in the refrigerator and use it right away. So I just have a tiny bit of this to try, which is just fine. With it being a condiment, you only need a little. So there is that little bit of sweetness that's in the background, but the primary flavors you get are those spices and the garlic. And I mean, it's really just amazing for putting on any kind of meat.